Hello and welcome back to On the House. Today we have J.Y Delmotte, the co-founder of BuddiesHR. So welcome. Is it Jean or Jean-Yves? What do you
Jean-Yves,
prefer?
yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, welcome. Can you just talk us through BuddiesHR? Like, what is it? Who is it for? And what problem does it solve?
Yeah, sure. So first, thanks for having me on the show, and yeah, to answer your question. So BuddiesHR is like the number one suite of Slack apps. It has been initially designed for employee engagement, so for a HR persona. But now it also includes founders because what we understood in the last couple of months is that most of the culture related stuff and employee engagement stuff in the early days are run through the founders because you don't have like an HR yet. So yeah, it's mainly designed to increase employee engagement and to help you achieve like a great culture in your company.
Cool. Um, so what? So is it more kind of early stage then, using buddies, and then like just talk us through some like typical use cases of like the value that people are seeing and how they're using it.
Yeah, so yeah, as you analyzed, the persona is quite early, like it's 50 to 200 employees. So for some, it might not be that early, but regarding of the full spectrum of the companies out there, we are definitely not enterprise, and 200 it's still considered as small and SMBs or beginning of mid market. So that's like where our sweet spot is. And second question was what we're doing.
Just some typical use cases.
Yeah, typical use cases. Yeah, so typical use cases like the three main things like the because so we are developing a suite of Slack apps. We have 7 apps, each doing something very vertical. The three most used apps to give you an idea of what we are doing. Number one is Billy Birthday. So it's a birthday bot, meaning it automates celebrations messages. So it collects birthdays and also work anniversary date and do fun announcements in the workspace to celebrate those every year. Second one is Clappy. So it's a recognition app for those who like, because recognition is kind of a very technical word. It's basically making sure that no good work goes unnoticed. So it's basically a way to send kudos in a gamified way so that it doesn't fade out after a few weeks. Because what companies usually do is that they create a kudos channel and they ask everyone to share like the wins and to celebrate everyone, etc. And then after a few weeks, it fade out because like it's kind of hard to motivate people in the long run to use such like to run such initiative. And this is where we come up because we introduce lots of gamification system with points, exchanging points, being able to redeem points against rewards, having smart reminders. As you can guess, if someone, for example, didn't send a kudos for a few days, we send, hey, it seems like you're not using the software you used to do. Is there anything wrong? Or just click on this button and get you back to it. And the third app is kind of a donut app because most people using Slack know donut because of the COVID that has been really popular on COVID, and then sadly they moved enterprise, and that's where we come up because we are tackling the 50 to 200 employees sweet spot. So we are not like the number one of these segments, but we are basically doing random coffees, being able to match people. So it's a very popular use case in remote companies because you don't get to know your colleague very much when you're not in a in-office environment. So that's where like Alfie is a good investment for a company.
Interesting. So 7 apps: Alfie Matching, Billy Birthday, Clappy Kudos, Posty Survey. I'm on your website now. Linky Directory,
Yeah.
Splendid Army Vacation. So the idea, I'm with you now. So there's different apps, and the idea is just to basically bring the team closer together. And
Yep.
and obviously you say there's founders, but also HR. What's your like go-to-market strategy? Are you targeting like both teams, and then what value? Because there's 7 apps, and they all have like, what's the value that and what are the pain points that are like bringing people into like demos and things like that?
Yeah, so I think it all comes up with retention and employee churn. That's the one metrics they want to go down to make sure that people stay. And it's all related to culture because it's only cultural topics that make people quit a company. It's really like financial or like it's either you have a bad manager, so that can happen as well, and we try our best to for this not to happen with kudos, random coffees, etc. But also with a new software that we launched 2 months ago for performance management, so that it's not subjective what's your performance by your manager, even if there are ways to try to make it subjective. But normally, if you have an HR function that is reviewing every single review, they should easily spot on like a toxic or a bad manager. So hopefully we won't have this use case again.
Interesting. Does this sit separately to other HR? Like if you have like a normal HR tech stack, does
Yeah.
this sit kind of separately because it is just about bringing people together? But does it tie into like performance reviews? Does it tie into anywhere else, or does it stand like on its own
Yeah.
as like as a culture tool?
For now, it stands on its own. Hopefully, one day we'll replace all HR tools. Like it's the big vision of BuddiesHR. We started as an employee engagement software. Now we enter the employee performance software. The next step, like we'll have lots of stuff to do on those two for now, but the big vision is to then start an HRES, trying to consolidate everything. So an HRES that will have an employee engagement solution and an employee performance management solution built in, and then after the HRES, including like an ATS within it, so that from recruiting to exiting the company, we might be managing all of the HR process from A to Z.
Yeah, that's super cool. Are you you might not be able to answer this one, it's fine, but are you able to share like any insights into like your closed one and like who have been good like customers for you? Are there any patterns in terms of like ICP? I imagine like for example, like if you want to go after new people, they're using Slack, for example. Like
Yeah.
like technology is an important one. If they're not using Slack,
Yep.
can you just give us some insights into like who is what kind of signals giving off that identifies they're a good customer for you?
Yeah, mostly remote companies. So because since you're in remote and remote in office jobs as well, like not being especially in office, but meaning not in the field jobs. So everything like that might be like in office jobs, meaning so of course you have the tech startup scene, but you also have like things like marketing agencies, SEO agencies, like everything that is related to tech somehow. Because you need to build websites, you need to work on Google Ads, you need to hire lots of agencies. So every in-office jobs that is taken off to use Slack, then might be a good ICP between 50 and 2. Now we lower the band, so it might be between 10 and 200 employees. But if we look at the numbers, like the median number of employees of our customers is like 70 or 80. So that's a good representation of what's a typical customer for us.
Nice. That's really cool. You're very like specific there. And then in terms of like acquiring customers, I know you're quite active on LinkedIn. Are
Yep.
you guys doing outbound? Are you relying on inbound? Are you doing product led? How are you guys growing?
Yeah, so right now, because it changes not every month, but every year, we have a different mix. But right now, it's a lot of Slack Marketplace. We are well indexed in the Slack Marketplace. I think we got lucky enough to launch in an era 2 years ago where there weren't many competitions at the time. We were kind of having no to little competition on each app we were launching, so we benefited from being one of the only vendors to provide such vertical solution. And then competition started to catch up. But the thing is that we were already high in the rankings, and it's really hard to get those ranking position when you have established competitors. And we experience it every day with Donut. Like even if they moved enterprise, they're still at the top of the rankings, and we are not able to outperform them yet. But I hope in a couple of years we'll be able. And so it's the same stuff for everyone who would be launching today. Like it's really hard to reach like the top of the ranking because of like the competition we have right now that is crazy. So yeah, so number one is Slack Marketplace. Number two is SEO. So we invest a lot in SEO. It's the channel in which we invest most, because Slack Marketplace, we cannot do anything specific. Like you can optimize your listing with some keywords. You can optimize like the images that you present for people to convert, etc. But once you've done like the basic stuff, there are not a lot of optimization and time you can allocate to this to optimize. So second thing is SEO, in which we are putting most of our efforts. That's bringing a fair amount of lead as well. And then comes Reddit and LinkedIn right now. It's so LinkedIn we posted like very regularly for a couple of months, maybe a year ago, and it hasn't started to pay off yet. But we're still like, the thing is that we're adding some of our best customers on LinkedIn, and it's a way for them when they change companies to remind of us when they have to make the decision again. So it's hard to quantify like the ROI of this, but still we know that it's paying off somehow. But it's very hard to measure, so I cannot have exact numbers on this. We tried like 3 weeks ago to write off all the numbers that we have on LinkedIn to try to find correlation in the first time to then optimize for having better trackings and more signups coming from LinkedIn. And then we do have some modest success with Reddit. I mean, it's not zero, but we get maybe 10 to 20 signups a month coming from Reddit. It's very stable, even if we put more effort to it. I'm not sure how it correlates with the effort we put at commenting and posting on Reddit. So we're still doing it. We're still learning a lot about it. So also, it's still very early, so I have no learnings to share. Just like it's bringing like 10, 20 signups a month, and that's already like enough to validate that this might be an interesting acquisition channel for us.
Nice. Okay, so we've got Slack. Would you say so? Slack and SEO are the two main.
Yeah.
The two main. Reddit's kind of like 10 to 20 signups. We'll talk about kind of like the journey of the sign up to paying customer and stuff. What made you go for SEO? I just gone down to your footer, and you can always tell because the footer has like more links. How have you found competing for certain keywords? Obviously, like there's companies like Deal and Rippling. Has it been difficult with those sorts of companies, or do you think you're niche enough within HR that you know there's a lot of opportunity? Like, how have you found SEO and being able to start kind of getting leads quickly?
Good question, because we don't look at competition very much. It's more like we are shipping stuff that we identify in topic clusters. So we have 4 or 5 topic clusters. And so we try to ship content in each cluster and see how it resonates and how it ranks in Google. And whenever we see some decent results, then we try to optimize. So decent results might be just impressions, but not clicks. And then it might be like you might optimize your title or there's something wrong about the title and the click-through rate conversion. And then if you have clicks and no sign up, then it might be either your article should be just thrown to the bin because it does like the topic it covers is not interesting to your business, even if it brings a lot of impressions, but that's just a vanity metric. So we don't care. We won't sign up at the end of the day. Or we can just optimize the CTAs or try to rewrite the articles to optimize like the conversion rates. And so that's how we make decisions. Sometimes we ship kind of slightly different version of the same article, and if we see that only one is ranking and the other are not ranking, then we are merging them together. So we're basically redirecting the one that are not working to the one that is working, and we're killing content. I think we are almost killing as much content as we add new. Because it's important, because what people don't realize in SEO, and especially like the people who might be thinking that programmatic SEO is a good idea, is that having a lot of pages on your website that doesn't rank on Google actually hurt your SEO more than not having those pages. Because in the Google ranking system, you have a variable that is like the number of pages that rank on your website divided by the total number of pages. And if this number is really low, it can affect the pages that might be ranking high. So that's a shame. That's why we kill content as much as we can. When it's
incentivizing quality, isn't it? And that's what you're doing essentially. It's like super relevant. So So am I right in thinking that you've got these topic clusters, you're shipping updates to the product, and you're then making content based off what you think is valuable. And then if it starts to pick up traffic and stuff like that, that's when you will optimize. So it's very much
Yep.
like value led rather than traffic led,
Yep.
is that, would you say?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really
Yeah. Exactly.
interesting. Do you know what, that's really interesting because just something that we've been doing is I'll like write a LinkedIn newsletter article, and it's more for my own learning sort of thing. It's good to write long form. I'll do it once a week, and then I'll just copy and paste that across into the blog. And then, I think we don't do very well for SEO, but I think we had one article that just started to rank, but it's purely based on value and then it's like, oh, okay, I might make a few more articles on that topic now.
Yeah.
So I like that. Cool. So
Yeah,
you're
I can give you an example of a content we killed. For example, that recently we killed a page that was ranking on kudos, meaning like we thought it would be great to rank on the kudos keyword because of the recognition app we have, but it's like people who don't know what kudos mean are not customers in the end. So we got lots of impressions and zero sign up. Like we got tens of thousands of impressions every month, but got zero sign up from this page. So we decided to kill it because people who are coming from this page are not valuable at all to us, and it might actually send a false positive signal to Google about it. And one other example I like to give as well is when we launched, like the most recent app that we have is Palmy Vacation. So it's a vacation tracking app directly in Slack. And when we launched it, we didn't have like a look at the competition. We just shipped articles about it. So the one that resonated most and invested more into it. And it's, for example, the one that worked very well was the one about like the different laws, like the leave laws that you have in different US states. So when we saw that one was working in one state, we were like, okay, so let's replicate this, maybe add 2 more states. And if it's still working, maybe add 5 more states, ranked by the population in each state, etc. And we decided to focus on this because at the end of the day, you cannot ship hundreds of articles every day. It's still taking a lot of time to write them in a qualitative way. So yeah, that's how we approached it. Like we didn't have a look at competition, just really like bottom-up approach.
Yeah, like you were looking for what your customers are searching for essentially,
Yeah.
but also like value. What inspired you guys? Obviously, your co-founders Fabi and Pinel. What inspired you guys to start Buddies HR? Was there like a problem that you found, in a previous endeavor? Yeah, what inspired it?
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting question because the story starts in our previous company whose name Palette HQ. So in this company, we were fortunate enough to went through YC, raise 6 million, and we hired a team of 15 people globally, so in remote. And we experienced ourselves all the pains of having a remote teams. We really enjoyed those topics, like building the culture, like ensuring everyone was performing at its full potential. All managing stuff were really appealing to us. So it actually clicked, and we were like, okay, what about launching a new company in this field? Because like the previous company was about calculating sales commission. Even if with time, I got very passionate about this, even if that might sound strange. I felt the need of launching something new, and employee engagement related topics was really like becoming more and more a passion the more I tried to learn about it. So I was like, okay, it is time. I need to start a company in this. So let's quit the company and start something new.
Nice. Okay. And then in terms of like culture and engagement, is it like, does it become more important? I guess it becomes more important like the bigger you get. Like, how important was it for a 15-person company? And like, if you don't keep on top of it, what happens? What are some of the negatives that people feel from like just everyone everywhere, lack of engagement, things like that?
One thing that when I talk about it with other founders and with people in the startup scene, one thing that struck them is that out of 15 people, we had no people resigning during 2 years. Meaning we had no performance issue on our end, and they had no issue with the company, and that's I wasn't really realizing it at the time because maybe I was putting a lot of effort in it. But it's kind of rare. Like most of the time when you hire, like you're doing bad hire, that happens all the time. Like it also happened for me in previous companies. But the thing is, one thing that we did very clearly at the beginning, where we are just the three co-founders, before even having like the first hire, is to define the company values and what it meant to be part of the company. And since we had those values and some questions for each value during the interviews we were running, then it was kind of clear and easy to identify a candidate that might be a great fit for the company. And then when you start having 3-5 good hires, then you have a fair idea of what's a good hire. Because like values in question is the theory, then you hire, and then you see in practice if it works. And if it works, you can start identifying the traits of people who match your company culture and start looking for those traits in the future hire marks that you will make.
Nice. And you mentioned with your previous company, you went with YC. How was that experience? Like, what did you guys learn there? Is there anything you've taken from that experience over to Buddies today?
Yeah, like the experience is amazing. Why he's even if sometimes on LinkedIn I can be very vocal about why VC stuff is probably not the right thing for your startup. I do think YC is an amazing experience because it allowed me and most founders who go through their program, the 3 months program, to learn so much in 3 months about everything in business, not only fundraising, but about. And if there's one thing that I kept from YC on my everyday life, and it's something I already had. Honestly, I think I didn't lack of it before doing YC, but I do still it reinforced it at a scale that is impressive, even if I had this in me. Is a sentence as simple as talk to users and ship code. Like you can have fairy tales about what a business can be. You can think about fundraising, having investor, being in the headlines, and all this shiny stuff. At the end of the day, having a business is really simple. It's like you just need to talk to users, listen to their problems, come up with a solution, iterate, and get money for this, and that's it. You just need to talk to users and ship a solution. Like in my case, it's code because like I'm a tech founder. But whatever it is, just start by talking to users. Like it's generally a very bad idea to start by designing the product and then trying to sell it to someone who might be having a problem that you have just you in your head. And so what's cool with YC is that they remind you like almost every day, like it's very simple. Like the only thing you need to do is talking to users and ship code. Like I don't care about what you might be asking during all the different checks that you have at YC. Is like, when is the last time you talked to a customers? How many customers did you talk with this week? How many prospects did you mail? Did you have on the phone? Like it's just a numbers game of talking to users. And then when you have a fair idea of the problems that they have, their everyday life, what it means to solve this problem for them, what is the ROI expected, how they think about ROI. Is it like money? Is it time? Is it both? Then you might be in a great position to actually come up with a solution to solve their pain point and sell them something.
Cool. When you say talking to users, are you putting time aside each week? Are you just sending them a message? Are you sending them an email? How
Yeah.
is everything going? Is it really as simple as that?
Yeah, and the good thing when you're in our position now, we have 700 customers and many more under the free plan. Is that you can have automations that triggers conversations. So for example, when people run some suite of actions in each of our apps, it triggers an automatic email that says, hey, it seems that you have reached a level of knowledge about the app that led you to do those actions. So now you might be actually have the learnings to share with us, how we could improve the software. Is there anything that comes to your mind when I ask this question? Anything you wish existed that you saw maybe in the previous software you were using, etc. And that generates itself the roadmap, because we're only shipping stuff that people are asking. Like just with this automation, it's thousands of email every year. we are able to just collect all the feedback, put them on a Notion document, group them by feature requests, and then every quarter when we do feature prioritization of what we are going to work on for the next 3 months, then it's crystal clear what we need to work on to improve the product and increase revenue, because you do see some requests with 5 to 10 feedback on it, and you're like, okay, so this is clearly missing. Even if it's 5 requests out of 700 customers, well, not all of the 700 will actually tell you reply to your email. So 5 is actually a lot, and a very good insight that this is missing in your software and you should ship it.
Nice. Nice. So, yeah, no, I can see you. It's important to you to stay close to customers. So, obviously, you mentioned about signups. Reddit gets 10 to 20 signups. What's the process then? Is there a free trial period?
Yep.
How does that actually work in the app? Do they? Because I imagine it's not like limited by number of seats, or like how does that work? And then what's the incentive to upgrade?
Yep.
And then how have you found upgrading people? Has there been any kind of friction there? Yeah, I'd love to learn more about that.
Yeah, so the basic is that you have 30-day free trial. This is quite generous, but I believe that for employee engagement, you need to have a long period of free trial to make a decision and to have enough insights generated by the software to know whether or not this is a good decision to invest in this. So this is for the first part. Second part of the question was, sorry?
Have you had any, how have you found people upgrading, conversions and things like that?
Conversion wise, like since we have 7 apps, we can measure conversion for each app. And one thing that we saw is that as soon as you're using 2 apps, then the conversion is really high, because it means you set up so much in your processes, like our apps in your processes, that it's hard to get back. Like I'll take you a very basic example. If you started using Billy Birthday for 30 days and you started celebrating, let's say, 10 people for work anniversary and birthday, then it feels super weird the next month to not having other people being celebrated. Like if you start celebrating your employees for their birthdays and work anniversaries, then like you just need to continue, because otherwise it's like, yeah, especially given our pricing is really affordable. Like it's, if you just want to use this app, it's $1 per app per employees. And so for a company of, let's say, 30 employees, you cannot justify you don't want to pay $30 a month for such a process that's done manually, would take so much of your time and as an HR, and you don't want to do it, and you don't want to break the culture. Once you started doing this, it's almost a no-brainer to just pay $30 for this.
Yeah, I'm just looking at your pricing now. So it's, you can pay per app, or you can then get all 7
Yes,
for like the price of 2, for the price of 2
exactly.
much at the moment. What percentage of people are using all 7? And then another question would be, how long are you finding people are staying for? Do you get some people who, you know, try it for a month and leave because it is super like generous on pricing, or are you finding it's quite sticky, like people are staying?
Yeah, it's super sticky. We have a very low churn rate for the segment we're targeting, because we are mostly working with SMBs, and most of the time when you're a SaaS and you're working with SMBs, your churn rate might look like something between 5 to 10%. We are around 2%. Sometimes it's a bit less, 1.5, 1.8. Sometimes it's a bit more, 2.3, 2.4, but it's around 2%. So monthly, so quite low for the industry we are in and the segment we're targeting. And when it comes to the package, I don't have the exact number. That's funny, because I love numbers and I should have, but from what I saw, we do have a Slack channels with notifications, and I think it's around 20 to 30% who go for the full package versus like just purchasing one app. So we still have room for improvement. It's not greater than 50%. We're working on this every quarter to maximize conversion. But still, it's a long-term game, because once you have one customer who like one of your apps, then it's kind of becoming easy to expand to a second app and then to sell them the package. Because since we have 30-day free trial, they have no risk of trying a second app because they already enjoyed the first one. It's like a very low engagement to say, okay, I have 30 days more to try another app, and if I enjoy it, well, for the price of 2, I can actually have the full suite. So Like it's we designed the pricing to be a no-brainer because we know like HR was going like it starts to like the feeling of like the toughness of the budgeting in the HR start to fade right now. I mean that's like the feeling that I got from the email, like the churn reasons because of budget kind of decreased a lot during the last 2 months. And so we just wanted it to be a no-brainer for HR. Like if you like it, the budget shouldn't be a blocker.
That's interesting. I like that because the friction is in getting one app, like, you know,
Yeah,
adding the app and then getting used to it and then adopting it. And then it's like, well, if you've got one and you've got value, it's just, oh,
yeah,
it's not much more to get the second. And it's just another app, you know, like
yeah,
they're already familiar at that point.
yeah.
So you're on the tech founder side. So you're actually shipping. Is your co-founder Fabian? Are you both technical? And then
Yep.
um, is it just you two shipping? Obviously, you had 15 people at Pallet. Are you keeping the team small? What's your plans to grow the team? Yeah, and then a wider question is like, how is Buddies different to Pallet? And then what are you guys doing similarly as well?
Yeah, so we are a two-people team and we are both software engineers, so we are both shipping stuff. I think shipping stuff might represent maybe 20 to 30% of our time. We're spending a lot of time doing sales and marketing, like most of the time. When it comes to growing the team, for now, we don't have the need because we try to automate as many things as we do and to stay lean as much as we can. We do not, it's not that we don't want to hire, but we don't have the need for a full-time hire. So what we do right now, because we do have some very specific and vertical needs. So in such case, we just hire consultants or agencies. Let's say for SEO, for example, it wouldn't make sense to have someone full-time to write SEO articles because we just need a fixed number of articles every month, and that doesn't require a full-time hire, and it will be like too much pain to hire someone part-time for this. So we work with agencies, but as soon as we'll have like an opportunity for a full-time hire, I think we'll make the mark. And how's different to Palette? Well, in terms of execution, everything's different because Palette was a sales-led company, whereas BuddiesHR is like relying on inbound, is more like a product-led company. So in terms of operations, like the schedule that I had on my previous company has nothing to do with the schedule I have right now. And also we raised funds. So since we were VC funded, most of my job was to hire people, grow the team, ensuring the culture was right in the team. Just try to accommodate everything for the team. Whereas here, it's just my co-founder and I. So most of our tasks are business tasks. So whether it's sales, marketing, or shipping stuff. So yeah, very, very different schedule.
Interesting. So Palette was so obviously you were doing a sales commission tool, but you're actually sales led as well. So you had people picking
Yep.
up the phones,
Yep.
whereas this one is purely product led. Interesting. Okay, and how did you meet Fabian? And then obviously you've worked on quite a few startups together. What makes you guys tick and work quite well together? Because obviously, like one of the things that I think is like you want someone to have complementary. You want to get on with them. You want to have like a good set of aligned values as well. But you want to have like complementary skill sets. Do you guys feel like between you've got everything covered?
Yeah, so to answer all your question, first one was how I met Fabien. So we met at school, and it clicked quite very fast because when you're at school, you have different kind of students, and we were both having the same mindset of trying to perform well at school, but not for the sake of being good at school, but because we were learning the core skills of what it meant to be a software engineer. And we were quite aligned on like we needed to work as hard as we can during school because like we are about to go into apprenticeship and to have our first jobs, etc. So we wanted to maximize this period together. And so we stick together for so the last year of the engineering degree, like in the school we were in France, is project based. So we had I don't know, maybe 6-7 projects in parallel, and it was a group of 3 or 4, and in all the groups I was with Fabien because I identified that we might actually be the year before, end of the previous year, we identified that we might be willing to work together. So we tested this on many school projects for a year. And then I started my own entrepreneurship journey, co-founding B2C companies. And then at some point I wanted to, the companies I was iterating for a few months wasn't going anywhere. And I had developed an internal tool that might be like a B2, like it's in between B2B and B2C. It's prosumers, let's say. It was at the time an Instagram automation bot, and I decided to launch it with Fabien at the time because he was knowledgeable about the field, and this is how we got to co-found like the first company together. What made us click together, I guess, is personal values. We at the beginning it was implicit, but with time it became explicit. But we really felt that we kind of received the same education when it comes to how we consider family, health, and money in life, and that's make a whole difference when it comes to building relationships with people. So I think that's what made us made the relationship work. And complementarity is a good topic because I don't believe in it, mostly because of values. Like, of course, if you can have both complementarity and values alignment, that's amazing, but that's kind of rare. And if you need to prioritize one, I would prioritize values over complementarity, because values cannot be taught, whereas skills can be learned.
Yeah. I have to agree with you on that one. Like, but having someone where you can, I've tried a few different relationships with different people, and for me, it was they have to have the same values. If we think too differently about the goal, or it just doesn't work. And then the other thing with that is, I don't know about you. I'd be interested to hear what you say about Fabian, but for myself personally, being able to have quite difficult conversations with someone, and it gets quite uncomfortable, and then we can but we have each other's best interests, so after the call we can be like, hey. And I've actually found someone like that, and it's really nice. But I've also had it in the past where they do not want to have these conversations, and I just find if you can't do that, you end up treading around eggshells. So I'd be curious to hear what you think about that. And do you guys get quite raw with each other?
Not that much, because we're really, I think what we have in common is that we have a high level of empathy. And because of that, we feel safe to share when we are not feeling great. And this is what's cool about having a co-founder. I was having this conversation with someone else who got to the same conclusion. But what's cool when you have a co-founder, it never happened in 10 years working together to share the same low at the same time. So whenever you have a dip in your morale, it's really rare that your co-founders also has a dip. And even if if you speak first, they will try to hide it just to make sure that you go up, and then maybe they will share something else once you're back to your normal flow. And that's what is interesting, because when you show vulnerability to someone who has lots of empathy, they will try to first listen, because this is what you need at the time, but also try to make you, to give you some ideas about why it's not that bad and how it could get quickly, because we're also both very optimistic. That's one of the traits we share as well. And this is why I think solo founders are like superheroes. Like, if you don't have anyone to share the lows when you encounter them, and that's your co-founder can actually help you feeling better, because sometimes you feel different stuff about your business. You're not going to make it, the churn is too high, acquisition sucks, so we just lost this customer. Like, you have lots of negative stuff happening, and so with experience it doesn't affect you as it's affecting you the first time you encounter the situation. But sometimes it can accumulate, and even with lots of experience you can be affected by this. And just by speaking up, saying, this week has been like just a shitty week for me, like because of this, and having a co-founder that reminds you, yeah, but man, remember that the churn is super low, we are building for the long term. Even if we don't have the same growth rate as you might see on others LinkedIn posts, our churn is really low, the curve is only growing, and it's just a matter of time. Like they might be having 15% churn, and even if they are growing super fast, they will also be decreasing super fast, or at least they will be stagnating for a few years, and they will enter into depression because we also stagnated for a few months and we know how it goes. And so remind you of your own strengths, and having someone to remind you this sometimes help you feeling better, because like running a business sometimes is tough. It's not only like the happy moments that I can share on LinkedIn. But yeah.
It sounds like you two are a good team. You're both you sound like a very positive guy. You help each other out. You're putting each other first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've kind of convinced me actually that complementary skill set can be learned. So that we'll put that one to one side. But
Yeah.
I'd be super interested to hear about, so 2026 going forward, SEO's top, Slack apps are top, Reddit's coming through. On the acquisition side, what are you gonna be doubling down on? Like, what are the opportunities, like specifically? Like, are there certain keyword? You probably don't want to share keywords, but what are the opportunities there? And then on the retention expansion side, what can you do with your product? Do you think you want to change pricing to be able to get more, you know, what are your plans? You know, can you increase like retention, LTV, like the number of months people stay for? Like, what are your plans on that side as well?
Yeah, so for 2026, this is actually one of my next LinkedIn posts. So I will use this podcast to get my thought the right way. But what we plan on 2026 for growth is a price increase that we will already plan for February. So it will be a 25% price increase. It's not doubling the price as we did for the past 2 years. So we'll increase slightly our prices so that the $1 per app per month becomes the yearly pricing marks, and the monthly become 1.25. It will also be easier for our team to plan the pricing and to talk about the pricing, because most of the time when HR approach this, they are approaching this in a yearly approach. And when it's 0.8, it's like the calculation is really hard to do. Whereas if it's just 1, then it's easier to calculate. So I think psychologically it will bring a lot of simplicity. So yeah, price increase. And since we have 43K of MRR, and at the time we'll be doing this update, we'll be at 45, then it could bring, like, if you do plus 25%, it might bring like 10 to 11 K of MRR. And then I think on average, we'll grow like 1,500 per month. So that brings us to 18K additional MRR. So if we start the year at 44 and we're adding 28, something like that, we might be ending the year around 70 just on BuddiesHR. Then we shipped an employee performance management software on September. We just got our first customers last week. And so we hope to grow this line as well during next year more significantly than what we did at the end of the year. That was more like launching the product, getting the first feedback, iterating on the product to make sure it fits the need as we designed it after running like lots of customer interviews. And then we'll just push on the accelerator to grow this even more. But in this field, we got lots of competition. It's a bit different than the employee engagement suite that we have. So still, we have a lot of learnings to accumulate before having like a deterministic growth as we can have on BuddiesHR. And yeah, we will also have a new project in January that I can't unveil right now, but it's a good occasion to tell people to follow me on LinkedIn to get to know this in January.
App number 8, is it? Is
So,
it another app?
No. Something completely different than what we have right now. New business.
Interesting. Wow, yeah. So, but that's not going to affect things, because obviously LinkedIn's not a big channel. So I guess having that separate thing isn't going to work, because you're still going to have SEO. Like, it's not going to affect acquisition, really, is it?
Yeah.
So that's exciting. And then I've also kind of picturing that you gathering as well. You're very methodical in how you're thinking about things. Like you're thinking February we're going to increase the prices. Is there a reason like why you're waiting until then? Like, do you think
Yes.
let's do it now? Or?
Yeah, because historically, like, budgeting is done at end of the year and purchasing are made in January. And if you have a pricing change between like end of the year and January, you will have lots of people who push back like, oh, I saw the price in December, and when I validated the budget with my CFO, it was displaying this, and now it's this, and I need to go again validation, etc. So when we discussed this with my co-founder, I was like, you know what? If we want to just avoid this and be as simple as possible and avoid friction, let's delay this to February. Let's make everyone purchase like the yearly subscription with the current pricing in January, and then we'll be able to make the update.
Yeah, that, and with the pricing to $1 as well, is all about frictionless ease. It's just like making it easier for the customer as well. Um, can we talk a bit about your journey getting to 43K MRR? Like, how did you get from 0 to 10? Like, what were the levers to get your first few signups? Like, I guess it'd be interesting to know, like, the curve where it's like up, flat, up, flat. I'd love to know how that looked for you guys, and then some of the bottlenecks you saw along the way, how you broke
Yeah.
through.
Yeah, I share. If the listeners want to see the full like growth curve, I shared it on LinkedIn a few days ago. It has been quite linear at the beginning. I mean, when you're doing 42, like 43, then the curve at the beginning looks very flat, but it was kind of linear. And you can see on the curve everything that we did if you can correlate this with different milestones. Like every time we, for example, change the positioning from one app to multi-app to BuddiesHR to then pricing updates, you can see like slight inflation of the curve. So that's actually interesting. And to get back to your initial question of how we got from 0 to 10K, or maybe first how we got our first signups. Well, we applied there's one book that I mention all the time that is named the Mom Test, and it's a book about how to run customer discoveries and ship your products to ensure you're solving a real problem. And it's mostly a book about how to find problems rather than how to find customers. So that's what we did when we left our previous company. I mentioned that we had lots of bondings for employee engagement topics, so we figured out it might be under the HR responsibility. So we just send some email to people leaders in startups saying, hey, you know what, I'm launching a new company, I'm an entrepreneur, went through YC, raised 6 million in my previous company, I'm now launching a new project in the employee engagement field and would love to talk to you because I saw your LinkedIn profile, you did XYZ, and so I believe it would be super relevant to have a discussion about employee engagement with you, just to help us shape the vision of our next company. Would you have 15 to 20 minutes to talk? And so we sent this email to lots of people, and we got fortunate to have 50 people, like around 40 to 50 people to accept. And that helped us shape like what were the basic requirements for an employee engagement topic software, what was the main features that we should cover at the start, what are the features that we should be doing later on. And yeah, that's how we got like the first customers, because of course out of those conversations we got people who were looking to replace or to buy their first employee engagement software. So by knowing that we were about to ship something, they waited and had like a tremendous discount, of course, because they helped us shape and ship the software. So that's how we got like the first customer, just talking with people leader. And at the beginning, to be honest, it wasn't like a sales approach. It was really like, we want to learn about the field, tell us everything you know, and we'll try to our best to make a company you will be proud of, having met us and participated, like shaping the vision. And then once we launched the software, some of them told us, hey, you know what? I'm super interested in what you do. So let's just meet to have a proper sales conversation. And this is how we got like the first customers. And then we relied on introductions. So once we got like your first happy customers, then you can just ask introduction to those people. And then we started developing like the inbound channels that we have today, and mostly like the Slack Marketplace and SEO.
I see. I'm looking at your graph now. It was about so it was about half the time up to this point was getting to 100K ARR, and then you've obviously gone up to 500 now, above 500. But that's interesting. So it was like a lot of outbound, but non-salesy. It was just introducing
Yeah.
yourself, your background, and trying to build and trying to learn, and then
Yeah.
that actually led to people then wanting to kind of reach out.
Yeah.
Um, but it sounds like you got that little handful of customers, and then it was like looking after them, speaking to users, building around them.
Yeah.
Kind of was product led then, So interesting. Yeah. So quick. Let's go to a quick fire round then. What's the just checking the time quickly? Got a cut. Let's go 5 minutes. What are the top 3 go-to-market tips you'd give to early stage SaaS founders? Maybe they're going from 0 to 10 or 10 to 20K MRR or something like that. What would you give to them?
Just one. Talk to users and ship code.
I prefer that. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. What are you most grateful for right now? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say my schedule, because having a business that rely like mostly on inbound, and having a co-founder allow to have lots of flexibility. So I just became that 3 months ago, and my co-founder became that for the second time 2 months ago, and we were both able to take like a full month of day off. I mean, like day off in the entrepreneurship world, like meaning you at least check your email inbox once a day to ensure there are no urgencies. But other than that, like we got fortunate enough to work only 20 to 30 minutes a day for a full month. And so anytime, except when I have like a podcast like this that are scheduled, anytime during the day, I can, if there's any urgency at home or something that I need to do, like I can just like close my laptop and go for a running session with a friend who's available right now, or spend time, like quality time with my loved one, etc. So I'm really like proud of that, and yeah, super grateful for that.
Nice. So having some time, running your own schedule. In
Yeah.
terms of LinkedIn, who are you listening to right now? Who are you learning from? Yeah, who are you looking up to?
They might not be, let me pull up the name. They might not be very well known, but there are a couple of people I exchange comments with, starting with a guy named Cedric Berry Krogenek.
Yeah, I know Cedric. He's
Okay.
engaged. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I have also one of our advisors at BuddiesHR that is named Nahed Kerala. That is also running a podcast. We went on his podcast as well. That is super cool, and he doesn't have the likes and the comments he deserves, because the stuff he's sharing about HR stuff is highly qualitative, and the podcast he runs is amazing for HR people. And maybe if I have to find a third one, maybe I'll mention my co-founder for the effort that he's putting to publishing on LinkedIn. But yeah, I have many other names, but yeah, it will be so long to enumerate. So
I love that, mate. And final question then, where should people go to follow you, get in touch, and where can they, if they're interested in Buddies HR, what should they do? Where should they go?
yeah, so if they're interested in BuddiesHR, just go on buddieshr.com. And if they have any question, they can reach out on LinkedIn. I'm always happy. Like I already share a lot of stuff on my post, but if there are any question they might have around something that isn't clear or not detailed enough, because I cannot like tell my entire life on LinkedIn, always happy to answer any question in direct messages.
Awesome. I'll put links in the description to those.
Yep.
Jean-Yves, it's been an awesome experience speaking today. Thanks for coming on, man, and sharing all the gems.
Yep. You're welcome, and thanks again for having me.